My name is Patrick Reinmoeller. The last name gives it away. I was born in Germany, still have the passport. Haven't lived there for 35 years. And I do research and consult and teach in the areas of strategy and innovation. And strategy and innovation, you can sum this up with adaptation. That's why I am here to talk about how to adapt. So what is the situation that we are in? What is happening? What is going on? That is one of those skills that we need to get to grips with. We need to equip our managers with an understanding of what is going on now, so that they don't apply the recipes that they brought from yesterday's experience, because today is not yesterday. And so to bring this into perspective, I need to figure out, yes, I brought a slide from Big History. Yesterday I didn't turn around to see how you answered the question, are there any history buffs among us? Hands up. Yeah, few, yes. Are you familiar with Big History, the term Big History? It puts things nicely in perspective, because it basically says that all things started here with the Big Bang. And we've come a long way. We've come a long way, billions of years, to arrive here. So Big History tries to identify the big patterns. And one of the big patterns that one can find looks like this. It's beautiful, no? I find, this is subjective, of course, as beauty always is. I find this the most beautiful slide representing the most horrific thing that we are going through. This is global warming. And so these are things that matter. And of course, we are businesses. This matters as well. The IMF has just said, forget about growth, and worse things are going to come. So it's a challenging time. So how do we understand what is really going on? It's hard to keep track of all these political, technological, economic events that are surrounding us and changing the playing field and changing very often the game completely. We were in Russia, we were doing well, and suddenly we have to close down the mine, like Gina said yesterday. So we had to sell everything. This is tough. And staying on top of this is really hard. And what we work with at IMD is something that helps us to understand trends, and we'll work together about this in the workshop. But the point that I want to make in this very short talk is many know nothing but these calm waters. Many of the managers that are acting, many of the talent that we are working with, they only know calm waters. They had a splendid period of growth and international harmony when it came to the World Trade Organization. The playing field was made up for them. Trade was free, and there was no inflation. There were no major blips. So that's the point of the slide. They know how to sail in calm waters. But in fact, what we are going through, and you may now see what's coming, is the situation has changed, and are they able to see what is? Are they able to see what is and make sense of this and change their behavior? And that may be required not only once, but multiple times. Maybe required not only once, but multiple times at a higher frequency. So this requires entirely different capabilities than those recipes from the past that worked then, but are totally broken. So the classic idea of strategy is going through some analysis, generating a range of options, of alternative ways to go forward, and then moving to some action. So you have seen this multiple times. There is a bit of a process. What I see is that these three essential activities that are needed to give direction to employees, colleagues, and even superiors are increasingly overlapping, which means that people need to be competent in analysis, creative to generate options in a broad range, and they need to be able to implement very fast, all at the same time. That is a fundamental challenge that people face these days, and it cannot happen fast enough. So how do we bring people up to speed? How do we bring people to a state where they can develop and execute strategies almost at the same time? This is a bit of a complex slide. The most important thing is 52. So you don't have to remember. This is not an exam. You don't have to remember this. Not really. I mean, of course I want you to take something away. But the average age of a CEO is a bit more than 52. This is US data. My apologies. My apologies. Is it higher or lower in the UK? Higher, hands up. Lower, hands down. No, so it's higher in the UK. Yes, yes, it's okay. So 52, that's the average age. And if 52 is the average age, then what have they gone through? They remember the Lehman shock and how hard it was. And depending on the location, it was really hard. Talking to Christoph's presentation yesterday. It was really tough. And in the UK, yeah, it was tough. Austerity was tough, but not for all parts of the society. So what are the traumatic experiences in terms of business that these people who are leading the organizations have gone through? The Lehman shock. Okay. The bubble that burst, the internet bubble. They were about 30 at the time. So two things that they may have had a lot to do with or not. So not a massive amount of shocks. What I'm saying is the past 52 years have been so smooth, especially when you are living in a world that is part of the 1% on the global income pyramid. Yes? So the past 50 years in the UK have been extremely smooth. In Europe, without major wars. Of course, we had some skirmishes here and there. So extremely smooth. If we go back, maybe they were 10 when the wall came down. So what is the level of experience that they have? Did they have the ability to generate the resilience that they need for today in their lifetime? I would say no. I would say no. And that is, I think, a challenge that you as HR professionals and we at IMD share. That is the challenge. How do we help people to get to the resilience, to the skill sets, the capabilities that they need to address the challenges that are unfolding in the now? Shortly after they were born, the oil crisis erupted, and they will not remember, probably. If they remember, they may have been having fun on the empty streets. highways with bicycles and skateboards. So a dearth of experience. And now we are facing a new oil crisis. Saudi Arabia has just offended the US by saying, no, we go with Putin and jack the prices up. That is quite confrontational. For some, for others, it's just business. Good. What is needed? So we've covered what is, and we'll work on some tools on how to understand what is better and be better prepared for what is coming, be ready for what is coming. What is needed? I think what is needed is what I call strategic leadership. Strategic leadership has two main elements. I go through this very quickly because I think you know what I'm talking about. One is it has this visionary component. So in order to strategically lead organizations towards a better future and thereby improving the planet, people need to have an understanding of what a better world looks like. And that should not be only how a longer yacht looks like for a white male CEO of Anglo-Saxon background. So visionary. And then effectiveness. It's good to have visions. Sometimes you get transported off into hospital and people try to find out what's wrong with you because you have all these hallucinations. So having visions is not enough. You need to also be able to do something about them with them. You need to be able to move to action. Again, analysis, options, action. That didn't change. I've picked up 3 examples. So Tesla, however you are enthralled or appalled by Elon Musk, we have to admit it's quite amazing what he accomplishes. It's quite amazing what he accomplishes. But also Maria Parra at the helm of GM, she has turned this company around and she is launching a major threat to Elon Musk's supremacy in the automotive sector. And she has a lot of heft and she has a lot of visionary insight in how to turn around, how to transform that organization. And that's exactly what Christoph alluded to. You have 2 ways of addressing the future that is uncertain. One is transforming what you have, and that is really a hard job, GM, or inventing the future and making it look like you want to see it. And that would be Elon Musk. So you could argue that he has a much easier job than she has. Whose car is this? So give me a car brand. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Not all at once. Sorry? BMW, yes, that would be an obvious choice, absolutely. Renault, yes, in the news, yeah, very good, yes. Hyundai, could be, yes, yeah. Lancia, okay, yes. All right, okay, I give you another hint. Whose car, this is the same, whose car is this? Audi, also, oh, very nice, very nice. Cadillac. Who said that? Yes. Can you repeat this? Apple. What do you mean with Apple?
Self-driving.
Self-driving, it could be self-driving. How do you notice that it is Apple? It could be, the signage, the language, the icons that we use. How many of you use Apple? Oh my God. There's nothing wrong with Koreans. How many of you use Samsung? Ah, okay. How many of you use both? Okay, I'm not the only fool. Yes, okay, good. So this is Apple's dashboard. Apple's dashboard. Now, what does Apple have to do with cars? Nothing. A while ago, they shared Apple Computer, and you know the story. But what do they have to do with cars but a vision? But a vision. So Apple is going into the car sector, is going into this business. They're showing up on your dashboard. And that is quite visionary, I think. And are they pulling this off? And how they're pulling this off? They're competing with them in totally different businesses. This is what is now. This is what is now. Suddenly you have a competitor showing up in your industry, has nothing to do with combustion engines and history of making cars forever, comes into your field and rolls it up. If you are a traditional car manufacturer, not in the HR position, but now put on the hat of the strategist or the CEO. If you are the CEO of a traditional car company, what do you think about that? I see British amusement, so what does that mean? Ah, thank you very much. Yes, I spent 22 years in the Netherlands, so yes, that is much to my liking. But yes, you would be, what, how dare they? So why are you, what did you say?
Pissed off.
Why are you that? Yes.
Someone is disrupting my business.
Someone is disrupting my business. But why, you know, couldn't you care less? Couldn't you care less? They're just in the dashboard. You're still making the wheels, you're making the engine, you're making everything. Yes?
They couldn't see it coming.
They couldn't see it coming. They're surprised. Yes.
Partnered with them.
Yes. So they have to?
Lost opportunity.
They could have partnered with them. Let's talk about the partnership. If you are Audi, BMW, Hyundai, Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, Toyota, you could partner with Apple. What do you think about the idea of partnering? That is probably one of the reasons why you are, what was it?
Annoyed.
Annoyed. Why you're annoyed? Because if you partner with them, they buy your Lamborghini and they have an Apple dashboard. And they have the customer interface. There is no customer interface between Lamborghini and the user anymore. It's Apple's user interface. Now, how many of the car companies that you see have already signed up? That's correct. All of them. All of them have already signed up for Apple's CarPlay. All of them because they're annoyed? Because they are threatened by what? Exactly, they are gripped by the fear of missing out. FOMO, it's not only you and me, it's also the CEOs of the other car companies. So they have no other choice but to accept this bargain because younger customers will say, what do you mean you're a premium car manufacturer and you have your own weird self-made interface? You are using, in every break, more than 90% of us go to the mobile phone. We check the mobile phone almost every 10 minutes, if not more. We are used to the icons. If any random car manufacturer comes up with an icon for the phone and they all look different, that is totally confusing, that is unnecessary, uncomfortable, not easy to use. Customers hate it. They're on the side with Apple. So do you want to be not on the side on which the consumer is? Very difficult situation for this this industry and for these manufacturers. That is an illustration of strategic leadership. Having a vision, and also being able to execute, cajole the rest to go along and make that vision become reality. By the way, a couple of years ago, Apple was starting to hire people who actually could build cars. They seem to have abandoned that effort. Now they leave the dirty job of putting the cars together to them. Low margin business. Not infinitely scalable. Just the consumer interface and the data is enough. Are we good? Yes, all right. So I'm running out of time here. Let me just show you one more amazing feat that Apple has just announced. Buy now, pay later. Yeah, Klarna. What does Apple have to do with financial services? Not much, until they developed something together with Goldman Sachs, and then they made peer-to-peer payments possible. And most recently, they announced that they are establishing Apple Pay Later. So they're going into this business. Apple has nothing to do with financial services. Now they have, because they had the vision. We can make a lot more money and increase our intimacy with the customers if we also know for what they pay, when and how and where. So they're going into this very, very dramatically. And they are earning the interchange fee, which also makes it liable for potential default. Early on, they needed Goldman Sachs to take that risk. Now they don't need them for that anymore. Goldman Sachs is still allowed to play along, but they don't need them for that anymore. And the reason is in your hand, if you're just checking your email or your mobile phone. They know so much more about you and your spending behavior than any bank. So vision and execution. They don't even, they say they don't even want to become a bank. Because with becoming a bank, getting a bank license comes a lot of scrutiny. And why bother with that? There may be one backlash coming, though. We go into a recession and it could turn into a societal problem. So if you enable people to buy now, pay later, and they accumulate more and more micro debt, at one point this debt is so macro that they are crushed by it. And the more and more people are crushed by spending too much, personal bankruptcies will rise. And if it turns into a societal problem, then Apple is associated with addicting people to spending too much. And that is not so good. So what is needed to do? And that's the last slide. I think we need to fundamentally rethink how we make decisions. We need to make decisions. But we need to go away from making decisions that are relatively simple. Prioritizing. Choosing to do this, but not that. That is probably inadequate for a world that is full of tensions outside and inside of the organization. We can no longer see the world in black and white. We need to be much more encompassing of different alternative solutions, lifestyles, ways of working. And for that, we need to adopt the mindset that is embracing both and. And those of you who have had the fortune to get Wendy Smith and Marion Lewis' book at the HBR stand, Both And, it's a very, very good book. We need to change the way we approach things. Not choosing between left and right, but finding another path, both ends, reconciling the tensions, overcoming these tensions. And maybe we can even go beyond that and reach something where we have something utterly innovative, where we have more than these two choices of going left and right. We have not only synthesized them, but we have gone beyond them.